Let's begin in a comfortable cross-legged position, just focusing on the breath, taking a few long, deep breaths, and then we'll slowly begin to move the spine into clockwise circles. So just placing your hands on your knees, start to slowly move around in a small circle, and then stopping and pausing and moving to the other direction. Starting with small circles and beginning to explore larger circles. And just noticing how this starts to gently open up the hips and warm up the spine. Then we'll pause in the center and interlace the fingers, turning the palms up to the sky, stretch nice and long, taking a couple of breaths and focusing on lengthening the spine. And now we'll take this into a side bend. So bringing your right hand over to the right side, reach your left arm up and over, and stay lifted here. So rather than collapsing fully into the position, just think of lengthening the left side. And we'll inhale our way back to center and exhale to the opposite side. Put a soft bend in your left elbow and relax your left shoulder. And just keep your eye gaze soft, either looking straight in front of you or perhaps looking up towards the sky. Inhaling back to center, reaching both arms up high, we'll take a twist to the right. So left hand catches the right knee, other hand on the floor behind with the fingers facing away, and just gently rotating the chest and the shoulders to the right side. And just going to where you're comfortable. And we'll turn the gaze to front. Inhale, reach the arms high again, lengthening the spine, and exhale over to the second side of the twist. Keeping the neck relaxed and allowing again the chest and the shoulders to rotate to the left side. Next, we'll come into a forward bend. So again, shifting the gaze towards the front. Inhale, reach the arms nice and high, up towards the sky. And then exhale, just coming about halfway down, fingertips on the floor in front. Inhale with a long spine, and exhale to slowly melt forward, perhaps bringing the elbows to the floor, or just staying on the fingertips. Try to allow your head to relax to a neutral position so your neck is long. And if you're comfortable, you could actually take it a little further, perhaps stacking the hands and just bringing your forehead to your hands and taking a few breaths in this forward bend, hip opening posture. And then slowly releasing the position, coming back to a straight spine on the fingertips and coming back to neutral. We're going to switch our legs around to the opposite leg in front and do that sequence again. So interlacing the fingers, inhale, stretch nice and tall. Just take a couple of breaths with a nice long spine, trying to bring the pinky fingers back to elongate. And we'll side bend over to the left this time first, so taking the left hand to the floor and reaching the right arm up and over. Again, your gaze could be straight in front or maybe looking up to the ceiling. Just keeping your neck nice and relaxed, focusing the movement in the side of the body. And then slowly taking that side bend to the opposite side. Also taking a note not to let your chest collapse, but really trying to keep yourself straight from the side. Let's inhale up to the center, reaching tall. And this time we'll twist to the left for the first side. So your right hand will catch your left kneecap, other fingers behind you, and then gently rotating your chest and shoulders to the left. And taking a couple of breaths here. And then inhale back to center, and exhale, twisting the other direction. And even turning your eyes and your head back towards the right will help to open up the spine. Let's bring it back to center again. So inhale, reaching arms high, and then exhale, coming forward, keeping that length in the spine, and slowly melting into the position. So in forward folding, we always want to be mindful not to just simply round the back and collapse the chest, but keeping a long spine helps to take pressure off the lower back. Again, if you're comfortable here, maybe just lower yourself a little bit lower. Just really softening through the outer hips and releasing the lower back. Then we'll slowly bring ourselves back up. And now we're going to adjust our position to a kneeling position to come into child's pose or balasana. So just come around onto your knees, bringing the big toes together. Start with your knees hip width apart and take a moment to gaze forward and lengthen your arms forward. So you're really stretching your spine nice and straight, and then slowly allow your forehead to sink to the mat. Now you're welcome to just relax your arms. You can soften the elbows to the floor, even bring the inner borders of your hands together, or keeping the hands separate if you want a little bit of a stronger stretch through the spine and the shoulders. And find a couple breaths here. And now we'll begin to add some movement into the spine with cat and cow position. So we want to start in a nice neutral position on the hands and the knees. Try to spread out your fingers nice and wide and really anchoring the hands and knees to the floor. And we'll slowly round our spine into angry cat, bringing chin to the chest. Now nice and easy, start to inhale and reverse that position, coming into more of a back arch. And then exhale, tucking your tail between your legs, bringing your chin to your chest, looking to the belly. And do a few of these. So inhale, opening up the chest, broaden the shoulders. Exhale, really curling through the back and rounding or arching through the back. And then inhale nice and slow, again softening the belly to the floor, opening the chest. And exhale, rounding the spine. And then slowly coming back into neutral. Now we're going to add on just a tiny bit of strength work and stabilization. So see if you can take your right leg back behind you. If you're up for an extra challenge, try lengthening your left arm out in front of you and allow yourself to stabilize here. We're going to set up for a modified side plank. So placing your left hand down, turning your body over to the right side. See if you can reach the right arm up nice and high and maybe extend that arm over your ear. And then slowly returning back to hands and knees. Let's come into our other side. So extending that left leg back. And if comfortable, reach your right arm forward. And just try to find that stabilization there. And again, moving into modified side plank, right hand to the floor. Just shifting your legs over to the left, reaching left arm up and over. And if possible, extend that arm over your ear. And just take a couple breaths into that side body opener. And let's bring it back to hands and knees. Now this time we'll set ourselves up for downward facing dog. So tucking your toes, spread the fingers wide, lift your knees off the ground, and go ahead and take your hips up and back. And just soften the knees, micro bend the knees, and lift your hips nice and high to lengthen the spine. Taking a couple breaths. Now we're going to lower our knees to the mat and actually step our right foot forward into a low lunge position and just resting our hands on top of that right knee. See if you can lower your hips down and forward, keeping your back toes curled under and the hips relatively square. And our focus is to stretch into that front of the left hip in this particular position. Now if you want to add on, we can create more of an extension, just interlacing the hands behind the head and taking a moment to really lift the elbows up towards the sky, pulling the navel into the spine, keeping a little activation in the core. And let's go ahead and release that. We'll come into our half splits variation. So bring your fingertips to the mat and see if you can heel toe walk your front foot a little further forward, flexing your toes back, squaring the hips, and if possible, engaging the right leg. Now, if this is a little tight for the hamstring, feel free to take your hands onto some elevated surface, so maybe a couple of big books or yoga blocks if you have them around. This is quite a deep posture actually for the hamstring, so you want to take your time opening it up. Let's bring ourselves back to the knees and we'll set ourselves up for the second side. So stepping that left foot forward, hands to the front knee, and just coming into a deep lunge, so allowing your hips to really drop down and forward. Again, if you want to add on, go ahead and interlace the hands behind the head and start to really elevate and open up through the front of the body, lifting the elbows to the sky. And again, let's get ready to move into our half splits variation. So just bringing hands to the floor, straighten the left leg out in front of you, flexing the toes back. You're trying to keep your hips square in this position and keep about a 90 angle at your back knee. Again, feel free to prop yourself up with the hands higher so that your spine is a little bit more elevated. The further down your spine is, the deeper the position is. So really work at your level where you're comfortable. And taking a couple breaths. And slowly releasing this position. We're going to return to child's pose. So big toes together, knees comfortably wide, just lengthening the arms. And just a couple breaths in child's pose. See if you can melt your forehead to the ground and really feel relaxed and centered in your body. And then slowly bringing ourselves back up, we're going to return to downward facing dog just for a moment. So tuck the toes, lift the hips. And then we'll step it forward to a seated position. So stepping your right foot and then your left behind. Bring your bottom down and just bring your legs out in front of you. And we'll slowly lie down onto our back. Now once your back is on the floor, just bend your knees into your chest, feeling your back nice and stable on the ground. We're going to hold our right knee in towards the chest, so interlacing the fingers around the right knee and drawing that knee off to the side as we straighten the left leg. Nice little hip stretch. And then let's change the position, so switching the sides, bending the left knee and straightening the right leg. And try to keep some length in that lengthened leg, that straight leg. And now we've done both knees into the chest, so wrap your arms all the way around your knees. Go as tight as you can. See if you can grab opposite elbows or just as close as you can. And really compressing through the front of the body and opening up the back. And try and relax into this position. Now we're going to move into one gentle bridge posture today. So go ahead and bring your feet to the ground, at least hip width apart, and making sure your feet are nice and parallel. Let's lengthen the arms overhead, feel some space in the spine, and then when you're ready, press your feet down to lift the hips up. Now you can either keep it here, or if you're comfortable and want to go a little deeper, interlace your hands underneath your back, and then rock your right shoulder and then your left underneath to really settle into a deeper position. Try to straighten the arms, pressing firmly into the feet, lift the hips. So this position will get you a little deeper into that upper spine to open it up. And then as you exhale, next time just release the position, relaxing your arms and letting yourself come down slowly. Now we're going to set up for a final spine twist today. So adjust your hips slightly to the left, then bringing your feet up off the ground so shin bones are parallel to the mat. Take your right hand across to the left knee and just guide your knees to the floor on the right side. And then if comfortable, extend your left arm out to the side. You could either straighten that arm or have a 90-angle bend at that arm. And now really try and relax into this position. This is our last pose of the day, so giving yourself that time to soften. It's good to take between 5 and 10 breaths here. But we're going to go ahead and come back to center, bringing your feet to the ground. Let's adjust the hips again, so adjusting the hips slightly to the right. Taking your knees and feet off the ground and guide your knees over to the left this time. And stretching your right arm out to the right. Sometimes it's nice to adjust the shoulders a little bit so that it feels like the shoulders are drawing down your back. Feel free to make any little adjustments that make your posture feel a little more comfortable. And try and keep that right shoulder on the ground. And a few breaths. And we always want to finish on an exhalation and then inhale back to center, adjusting the hips back to the middle. One more little preparation before our final relaxation. So we'll curl into a little ball, bring your knees in towards your chest, chin towards your chest, bringing your head to your knee, squeezing in, and then slowly releasing into your final savasana. Allow your feet just to slide out to where they're comfortable, toes flop out to the sides, relaxing the arms. And maybe take about 5 minutes in the savasana if you have the time today, really settling your mind and your body.